Jacin Sinclair, finally, he's been picked in the side the last couple of weeks but hasn't played. He is a talent along in the centres with Tyran Smith.
Well, it's an interesting one, that Tyran Smith, isn't it? Because basically Ken Shine's been forced into that by injury.
Well, Tyran Smith, if you remember back a couple of seasons ago, started off on the wing and he caused all sorts of trouble for opposition sides, and then he moved in to the lock forward position. But look, I really think it's a good position for him, centre 3/4. I'm sure he's put him out there to mark crackers.
As the South Sydney Rabbitohs come out for this Optus Cup match. Round 5 here tonight. Danny O'Keefe at fullback. Smith and Sinclair, as we mentioned, in the centres. Darrell, Trindall and Craig Field in the halves. The back row are Troy Slattery, Craig Salvatori and Quinn in the second row. In the front row of MASELLA, Bell and Richard McKELL. You see Craig Field there, just encouraging his team. You mentioned before that he perhaps had a little bit of an illness, but obviously he's out on the park.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Craig Field on that shot wearing shoulder pads. Not normally wears them. Must be a shoulder injury for him.
Big reaction here for the Parramatta Eels. Now, there's been a couple of late replacements. We've got Chris King and Jacin Smith, both second rowers out this evening, but in Matthew Spence and Dean Pay, Steve, they've got a couple of good replacements, haven't they?
They're sensational replacements. Dean Pay, probably one of the best forwards in the competition last year. He's very damaging against the Poms. There's Jimmy Dimmick, what a player he is. I expect him to have a big impact on the game tonight. And also Spence. He's a very good player, a former junior Kiwi, and I don't think it'll be long before he goes into the senior side.
Well, he showed some good form last weekend against Wests, of course. Bob Bailey was out at Campbelltown today to watch the Western Suburbs Magpies play the Sydney City Roosters. Well, there's a few Kiwis in action here again tonight.
Yeah, I could understand if he was out here. Tyran Smith, Freeman. Well, we all know what Gary Freeman can do, but I'm sure
that's right. I mean, his resume is pretty good already, isn't it? So we're just about ready for a start here at the football stadium. And the kick is long. Freeman waits and brings McCRACKEN into the play straight away. He's taken in the tackle of Jason Bell. This is Peter Johnson, just working the ball outside the Parramatta 20. And again, Parramatta going left. They're working it around just in the forwards at the moment. That's Raper with the ball. Freeman into dummy half. Brings Dimmock in, and Dimmock goes long.
Yeah, good positive start there from the Parramatta side. A good kick too. Have a look at the chase. Gary Freeman leading the way. That's the enthusiasm he'll have to show tonight.
And picked up there by Scott Mahon. Well, there's Jacin Sinclair. Inside now to Darrell Trindall. Just arranging themselves to the left. This is Sinclair again. He's reasonably easy to pick out in this crowd, isn't he? He's got the Jim Dimmock haircut.
Yeah, it's a bowling ball head.
They're going forward again. That was Martin MASELLA. Got in a little bit of trouble last weekend.
It'll be interesting to see how Marty goes tonight, whether he is a little bit timid with his defence.
Well, the kick from Craig Field was partially charged by Dean Pay, and Parramatta have come up with the ball.
Yeah, that's one of the things Craig Field does. Tries to kick on the advantage line. There always is that habit of people putting their arms up. Here's Ritson charging forward.
That's right, taken in the double tackle of Sinclair and Salvatori. Mario Fennick is sideline with us tonight. Mario, what are your impressions?
It's a lovely night for rugby league. Very mild on the sideline.
We've got a bit of a break coming on. This is Jarrod McCRACKEN. He lost the ball and he'll score. Russell WYER was there to pick up the scraps. Well, the gap's just opened for Parramatta. I'm sure Russell WYER can't quite believe his luck.
No, beautiful play there from Jarrod McCRACKEN. He's the man that we picked to be the danger man. He's picked Craig Field out in the line. They spread the ball wide on the third tackle. Cracker's just too big and strong, ran straight through Craig Field's attempted tackle. Could be a shoulder problem for him, as we said earlier. Here it is again, Woods. That's a good selection. Him at 5'8". Craig Field, the attempt of grab. Here's the pass over the top, coming off the South Sydney winger, Greg Clarke, and Russell WYER under the post.
As any good wingman would, he's there in support. Well, the ball came through, and Jarrod McCRACKEN put on the pace. He looked to his right, and as you saw there, the ball coming back off the South Sydney player, And WYER, well, he was really unopposed to go around and score behind the posts.
Yeah, it's a bit of an unfortunate start for the South Sydney side. I feel a little bit sorry for them there. Craig Field, as we said before, their best player, and obviously playing with an injury tonight.
So Russell WYER comes back to his position as Chris LAWLER lines up the kick. Which is successful, 6-0 here at the Sydney Football Stadium. Well, as we were saying before, Mario Fennick, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but how have you seen it down there so far?
Yeah, as I said before, mate, before I was interrupted, it's a great night for rugby league. It's a little sad that the crowd, very ordinary crowd, I believe, and that really sums up a few problems we have in the game that we have to address. But I see this game, even though Parramatta have scored, as a danger game. I believe South Sydney have got a great set of halves, and if Parramatta don't come up, South Sydney will really make them pay.
You see Russell WYER just completing. This is Adam Ritson, goes strong, taken in the double tackle, out to the Parramatta 20. Raper in at dummy half. This is Johnson. Just working the ball around in the forwards so far, Parramatta. Raper goes to the left, brings Nathan Barnes into the line.
Yes, and South Sydney using the compact defence. Let's see if the Parramatta side can get on the outside of him through Jimmy Dimmock.
Dimmock couldn't find any support. He'll play the ball 40 metres out from his own line. This is Raper. Well,
there's no use complaining there. Salvo complaining. The referee obviously...
How unlike him.
Referee obviously causing them for not marking up straight. And that's what it looked like from here. Here's the replay there. 3 men in the marker. Let's have a look at here. Jimmy Dimmock fighting to get to his feet. And the penalty just for holding down there, and a fair enough too. It's probably one of the biggest problems for South tonight. Got to try and slow this Parramatta side down.
They're now about 35 metres out from the South Sydney line. This is Adam Ritson. Picks up a couple of metres and will play the ball on the 30. He's got Freeman. Freeman has support. Trindall was up high in the line. David Woods. Well, he's monstered to the ground by 4 South Sydney players. Freeman again. This is Dimmock.
Yes, and he's a danger out wide too. Dean Page just hang back on the right-hand side. They brought the football back to him. South in all sorts of trouble again.
Dimmock's kick is charged down. They'll get another 6, Parramatta. And this is where South Sydney are in trouble. Adam Ritson has the ball on the 20. Nothing stupid now. They've got another 6 tackles.
And that's the reason they got another 6 tackles too. The South Sydney player played at the football. Had he not, it would have been the last tackle.
Dimmock was taken out by Peter Johnson then, which I'm sure came as some surprise to him.
Yeah, a little bit of indecision there. As we say, Parramatta still trying to find their feet. That obviously was a set play gone wrong. Johnson nearly smashed Jimmy Dimmock here.
That's right.
And lucky there, and that's why they've been done for the penalty. There was a shepherd by Jimmy Dimmock that impeded some of the South Sydney players. Penalties already 1 each.
So Craig Field relieves the pressure, gets the ball up to around about 35 metres from his own line. Richard McKELL. Field again. Well, he's enveloped in the double tackle there, Martin MASELLA. This is Jacin Bell looking for runners. Mario, it's a pretty intense down there.
The worst possible start for South Sydney, Eric. If they're going to be a hope in this game, they have to dominate possession, and they've got to make sure they don't miss silly tackles. This is going to help them with this penalty. If they can control the football, South Sydney are dangerous. Watch Field and Trindall come into play now.
Well, Craig Field will look for good field placement with this kick for touch.
Yes, and there's the penalty. It's coming over the top. Just Johnson holding down that little bit too long on Troy Slattery. Here's the Rabbits, only 25 metres out from Parramatta's line, ready to strike back.
Richard McKELL to Field, the long ball. They've got support. Pass goes astray. This is Danny O'Keefe. Greg Clarke slips inside. He's lost the ball.
Yes, and fair enough too. It should be Parramatta's ball.
Jarrod McCRACKEN plays it back.
Well, Clarke lost the ball in the tackle there. It was a strong tackle over the top by Jarrod McCRACKEN, who started this game well. The ball went loose and he's dived on it, and that gives Parramatta possession as they go wide.
This is Dimmock with the step. It's Scott Mahon into dummy half. RITSON. Nathan Barnes.
Yeah, poorly read there from Barnes. He had a 3-on-2 on the outside there. Could have got the ball away to his winger LAWLER. It would have made a long break down that left-hand side.
Well, Freeman's kicked it into Peter Johnson's back.
Well, that should have been a penalty to the South Sydney side.
Peter Johnson was clearly offside.
Yeah. Now we're going to see a turnover now. Let's see what South can do. What they've got to do is control the football. They've had it on a number of occasions now. Look at this, one out running, Mario. That's not the way to play.
Got to make sure they get their sets of 6 out block. They're not, well, that's going to help them as well, a penalty, but they have to maintain their possession. They have to get to their kick tackle and either put a kick up in the air or put it in goal.
We haven't seen too many sets of 6 so far in this game, as Craig Field will look for the sideline. 6-0 South Sydney trails. Around about 9 minutes gone in the first half. He looks for the runners. He brings in Damian Browne. Browne is tackled around about 22 metres from the Parramatta line. Field again, looks to MASELLA. MASELLA's taken by Adam RITSON and pushed back. Jacin SINCLAIR will play the ball on the Parramatta 20. This is SINCLAIR.
Beautiful hit over the top there from Johnson. That's his trademark. I warn you, Jacin, don't run in there. There's a loose ball. He lost that cold there.
That's right, he was trying to milk that one, Jacin SINCLAIR.
You can put that down to a Johnson hit. Nearly put him back into the back of the stand.
Again, Craig Salvatori has a word or two to say.
And here's that hit there. Just gets up to play the ball quickly. Jacin SINCLAIR loses control, just gets caught up in between Johnson's leg. Try, as you said, try to milk the penalty. Not a good go, only on the second tackle for the Rabbits.
So the ball from Freeman comes out to the right, where David Woods has taken in a strong tackle. This is McCRACKEN. That's the sort of defence that South Sydney needs. DYMOCK taken high. Raper. This is Dean Pay. He's brought the ball out close to the 40. Raper again. Looks inside to RITSON. RITSON strong. He had the man at his shoulder. That was Matt Spence. Couldn't pick him up. RITSON will go to the right and kick long.
Yes, and there's the advantage of having a hooker who can kick out of dummy half. Just puts everyone onside. Look at this chase. There's the man that kicked the football, Aaron Raper. Good play from that young fellow.
No one back from South Sydney, as Greg Clark steps out of one tackle and is eventually taken. This is better stuff, Mario.
Yeah, there's not much talk from the Parramatta side. They're right in front of me now. Look, as I said, the longer the game goes, but South Sydney aren't helping themselves. They're making too many mistakes. No wonder they haven't won a game. If they're going to win a game, they have to control their sets of 6.
Field goes long and the kick is good.
Yes, Murray, I've been disappointed in Craig Salvatori so far in this game. Hasn't had a hit up yet, and the game's been going for a little bit more than 10 minutes.
Yeah, very disappointing block. Obviously, Salvatori's a very experienced player, and you'd expect he'd be one who would lead from up front, and he isn't doing that at the moment, but let's hope that he can come into gear now.
Well, the scrum will go down around about 13 metres from the Parramatta line.
And Spence minus the hair. He threw me a little bit there. There's the error rate. 6 to South Sydney already, only 3 to Parramatta.
That really does tell the story. Parramatta leading 6 points to 0 here at the stadium as Freeman feeds. Brings in his winger, Russell WYER, the try scorer tonight. He gets out to the 20. Freeman in again at dummy half. Pay. DYMOCK. This is Johnson. Strong tackle there by Martin MASELLA. I beg your pardon, that was Richard McKELL. RITSON.
Well, that's what they've got to do. Have a look at there, South Sydney moving off their line quickly. They've got to do that all night if they're going to upset this Parramatta forward pack, as DYMOCK kicks downfield once again.
Cleaned up by Danny O'Keefe. Well, he ran out of support and he ran straight into Jim DYMOCK.
Yes,
which is not to be encouraged at any time.
Yeah, Jimmy DYMOCK, good chase from him. Look, the game only been going a little bit more than 12 minutes. So many walkers from the South Sydney side.
Just going to say, there's a lot of them down to a walk already.
You'd have to question their fitness.
Well, the ball went blind that time and there was absolutely no one in support. They switch it right. This is SINCLAIR. Well, he gets a good ball away, but again, Dymock is there to clean up.
Yeah, beautifully positioned there from Dymock. They are dangerous when they do go wide to SINCLAIR. He's a very talented player. Field tries to bring something.
This is Tyran Smith. It's usually a second rower or a lock playing in the centres tonight for South Sydney as Field goes long again. Scott Mahon comes back.
Now, you can generally tell how good you're going with the enthusiasm of your chase. That's a poor chase from South Sydney. Mahon able to make 15 metres from his in-goal area.
Jarrod McCRACKEN in a dummy half. He brings in his winger, Russell WYER. He gets out to the 20. Raper. RITSON. Again, he's a strong man. Picks up a few more metres. They're still going left, Parramatta. The long ball, Dymock puts it down.
Yeah, Jimmy Dymock in two minds. He saw the gap on the inside of him there.
That's right. I think Jim Dymock in his own mind was about 50 metres downfield.
Yes, here it is there. Dean Pace, so used to playing with each other on the same side there. Jimmy just a little bit of indecision before the line. But Mario, far too many mistakes.
Well, that's the mistake they needed. South Sydney gives them an opportunity to have a go at Parramatta's line. And now let's hope they can complete their set of 6.
As Field feeds the scrum. Troy Slattery goes blind. Field into dummy half. He's signalling his winger around. Doesn't use him. This is MASELLA.
He's been prominent in the first half so far, Marty MASELLA. That's his 6th hit up. And there could be a hand in there. That's a penalty to South Sydney. Johnson involved again. It's been a good duel between these two so far, Mario. Martin MASELLA, a hard man.
He's a hard man, MASELLA, and as Johnson, as you said before, I think he's their form player, Johnston, and they're old teammates from Illawarra, and a bit of gamesmanship. I think MASELLA outsmarted the referee there.
Well milked, Marty.
They'll take a shot at goal. As you can see the penalty, South Sydney 4-1 over Parramatta. Gary Freeman marshalling his troops. Went over and had a quick word to the referee. Former Kiwi captain. He knows how to lay down the law, Steve.
Oh, doesn't he? What? He knows how to have a chat. It'll be a toss-up between him and Tugger Coleman.
So the shot is just off centre and around about 22 or 23 metres out for Craig Field. South Sydney trailing by 6 points to 0. Around about 25.5 minutes gone in the first half. It's good, 6-2 here at the stadium. And we talk about the troubles of these two teams, Steve, in 1996, but in 1995, South used 48 players in first grade and Parramatta used 42.
Well, that tells the story, doesn't it? Far too many injuries for the clubs or far too many team changes every week. What you got to do is try and build a team and have them 6 in a row.
It must be said, though, that Ken Shine did have a few problems with injury last year, so that would have contributed to it.
Yes, already the forwards working well for South Sydney. Parramatta had a fair bit of the ball. Slattery, Bell and McKELL already in this match, 8 tackles.
LAWLER kicks off and long, down and close to the dead ball area where it's taken by Craig Field. He finds MASELLA, who's beaten back by Spence and Dymock. This is Damian Browne. SINCLAIR. Now, is it just me, or has Matt Spence had a haircut in the last 7 days?
He probably promised himself he'll get a Skinner if he ever makes first grade.
Well, Salvatori made some ground, passed inside to find Richard McKELL, and McKell's inside the South Sydney 10-metre line. They come right now. They're looking good, but there's no one running in support for South Sydney.
I'll tell you what else they're doing too, is running a bit crossfield. You must run straight if you're going to make yardage in the middle of the ruck.
Field goes to the boot, but it's easily picked up by Scott Mahon. He'll bring the ball out close to the Parramatta 20. Who
did some magnificent things last week, Scott Mahon. Bit of an unpredictable player, but he's certainly got some skills.
So centre field for Parramatta, back to Freeman. Brings in Dymock. Makes about 8 metres. And he'll play it back to Raper. Brings in Johnson. And Salvatori over the top of Johnson. Well, you can just see something building for Parramatta as Adam Ritson takes the ball up again.
Yeah, they seem to me as played down to the pace of this South Sydney side. They're getting to their kick. That's the main thing, as Mario has mentioned before. There's Freeman putting in one deep to Danny O'Keefe. It's not a bad little player, this fella.
He's got some pace.
Football back.
He's got some pace, but he's picked up by inevitably Jim Dimmock.
Mario, there's just no urgency with the South Sydney side. Every time there is a kick downfield, they're not in any hurry to get down there and take the ball out of their own half.
Yeah, South Sydney have to improve in that area, but I really feel that there's another mistake by South Sydney, and they're going to get beat by 100 if they can't control the football.
Well, they've got the ball inside the South Sydney 10, and in fact they've got a penalty as well.
Yes, and fair enough too. That's the fourth penalty we've seen in this match for trying to slow the play down. Perfect opportunity for the Parramatta side. Oh, kick for touch and probably a roundabout. They'll end up roundabout, and they're going to have a shot at goal. If they do, that's a... I couldn't believe that. No, they'll have a kick for touch for sure. There's plenty of pressure on the South Sydney side. Parramatta making breaks everywhere. They'll end up about 20 metres out.
Tyran Smith, it was the man over the top.
Now just watch, they'll hit a couple up and then they'll play on the third play. That's what they normally do. They'll put something on.
Well, Ritson is in back play at the moment. They'll inevitably bring him into the move at some stage. This is Matt Spence.
Let's wait for it now.
10 metres out from the South Sydney line. Freeman brings Spence inside.
Ooh.
And South Sydney will come away. Jacin Bell picks up the scraps. He's about 25 metres out.
Again, a little bit of indecision. That was Dean Pay being the ball player there. Hasn't played for a number of weeks for this Parramatta side. And turned the wrong way to turn it inside to Adam Ritson.
Is that a groin injury, Dean Pay? That was a bit of a let-off for them, Mario.
Yes, like I said before, Eric, Parramatta guilty of falling down to the standard of South Sydney. South Sydney, it's no surprise they haven't won a game because they're just making too many mistakes.
The long ball from Trindall finds Tyran Smith, who's still going. Picks up about 20 metres.
Well, Mario, you'd have to agree that they have got plenty of ability in their football side. It's just a matter of controlling that football.
I get the feeling, Blocker, the longer this game goes and South Sydney is still in it, it's dangerous for Parramatta. They have to watch their halves. This man here.
The long ball from field is finally picked up by Smith, who puts the ball high on the fifth tackle.
And that's the difference between the real professional side. Scooped up there, 6 to go.
Well, that was a bad mistake by Scott Mahon. He's usually so good under the high ball, and South Sydney 15 metres out and threatening. This is Salvatori with the break.
Well, he can certainly read them pirate runs.
Great tackle there from Gary Freeman. They go left. This is Field. The long ball out to Trindall. Here's Danny O'Keefe. He'll score in the corner. 6-all here at the football stadium. It came from a Parramatta mistake. But again, after that, it was the vision of Craig Field.
Yeah, Scott Mahon going up for the football to catch the bomb. Left the ground. No need for him to do that. That's where the mistake was caused. When we saw a good up-the-middle run there from... Here we go, the high ball. There's no reason to leave the ground there. It was all over the shop. Then we see Craig Salvatori. Now this to me is the play. He makes the break up the middle of the field. Now the long balls. That sucked him in the middle.
It came out.
Long ball there. Beautiful from Trindall.
Great pass.
O'Keefe. And he just sprints. But the money ball or the money run comes from Craig Salvatori in the middle of the ruck to pull them in.
And the irony of that try, obviously, Steve, is that Danny O'Keefe was a Parramatta junior. So he's scoring against his old club to lock it all up.
He'll be happy about that. That's what Mario was talking about. They are a dangerous football side, South. And now they've got a sniff. They might start to open up a little bit.
Field lines this one up. He's kicked 1 from 1 tonight. This is quite wide out, just a couple of metres in from touch and about 22 out from the line. No, he's pushed it across the face, so it's still 6-all here at the Sydney Football Stadium.
Well, this is exactly what South Sydney needed, and is their confidence going to grow now? As I said before, and Blocker agrees with me, this is a danger game for Parramatta. If they make mistakes like the Mahon bomb, they're going to pay.
So Chris Lawler brings it out to the halfway line, and suddenly a couple of Parramatta heads have gone down. They played with such confidence for around about 5 or 10 minutes.
Let's see how they respond to this kick. This kick off, the next set of 6 will be the telling factor.
Lawler long down into the deep. Brings in MASELLA. MASELLA goes hard, but he's taken low and well.
Well, I don't mean to be critical of the referee, but this 10 metres is very shallow. Players running up before he's even there. They're all in front of him. Has not blown his whistle for inside the 10 metres.
It makes it difficult to put together an attack as Craigfield will play the ball. Trindall. Salvatori. 35 metres out. Bell. Still going. Gets inside the 10-metre line. About 10 metres. Beautiful pick up by Trindall. He kicks long. Mahon comes across. And this time he tidies up. And he'll pick up around about 10 or 15, in fact about 20 metres. Has he gone too close to the sideline? He has. Well, that's a mistake from the Parramatta fullback.
Yes, well, hasn't he been solid defensively? Tyran Smith. Beautiful chase there from Tyran Smith to cover the kick. A little bit more enthusiasm from the South Sydney side now. Tyran Smith over the top. Pushes him in the touch.
You could actually see Tyran Smith's eyes light up when he saw Scott Mahon go quite so close to the sideline. And that's a wonderful piece of defence by the South Sydney centre. So all of a sudden, South's on top here. It's 6-all at the stadium. Field, Trindall, SINCLAIR, no way through. Trindall steps into dummy half. This is SLATTERY. Put down about 28 metres from the Parramatta line. QUINN. Field, what can they do this time? Looks left, goes right, steps through. He's got the pace. Looks inside to Salvatori. Salvatori had overrun it.
Oh, all the beautiful work done there by Craigfield. Why would you force the football? Only the third tackle. He looked like he was going to switch to play back. And then the gap opens up. It was only a good tackle there from Jimmy Dimmick coming across from the blind side.
That's right. I mean,
but
fantastic.
Why would you throw the football there? Here's the run here. Have a look at Jimmy Dimmick. What a player he is. Well read. Forced pass there to Salvatori on the outside. Maybe he was a bit not deep enough. He was a bit shallow there.
Freeman feeds 10 metres out. But they've been under pressure as Freeman makes a break. He's through. He's got no one to beat as he got the pace as Greg Clark comes across in defence. He'll play the ball quickly, Freeman. He's got Mahon behind him. Well, if he'd looked right instead of left, where he picks up Jim Dimmick, he had about 3 or 4 outside him. Dimmick's still going. So they're about 15 metres out, Parramatta. Freeman. Wide to Pay. Pay puts it down. Souths will come up with it.
Yeah,
or will they?
Both sides guilty of making mistakes in their own half. Gary Freeman, had that have been a couple of years ago, it would have been shut the gate. You could have stood on halfway clapping him. He would have scored the try for sure. The wily Fox, a little bit of age on his side now. And there's the play the ball again. Gee, it's been ordinary to play the ball. You put that down to the referee.
It's going either way at the moment, isn't it, Mario?
Actually, we've had a couple of replacements, Eric. Adam McEwen is on for Craig Salvatori, and Adam Wright is on for Martin MASELLA.
Also, Jacin Sinclair leaving the field for the Rabbitohs.
And on comes Phil Howlett. So what can they do this time, South Sydney? Look at those errors. There's plenty already. 12-11, South Sydney.
Well, it's just the style that both sides play the football game. South's always going to make errors. They're willing to throw the football around, and as we said, Parramatta are trying to play that same style.
Bell. This is Wright. Held in the tackle by McCRACKEN. They go right again. It's lost that time by McEwen. And Parramatta will come up with the ball around about 45 metres from their line. Marty McKenzie.
Yeah, good pitch for McKenzie there up the blind side. Caught South napping there a little bit. Good place to attack from right here in the middle of the field.
Johnston goes strong. Raper marshalling the troops out on the blind. And he goes right. This is Dimmock. Looks inside, there's a great bust here. This is Nathan Barnes. Has he got support? No, it's not. In fact, that's Matt Spence. Just a couple of metres out now,
South's
Parramatta.
in all sorts of trouble out wide.
If they go left, they'll score. Dimmock kicks. He's taken on the full, and that's a great try. Wonderful thought by Jim Dimmock as Chris Lawler scores.
Well, exactly what I was talking about. If we have a long shot here, you'll see what I'm talking about. South Sydney use a compressed defence. Jimmy Dimmock read that beautifully. He saw that they were all compressed in, chipped over the top, worked it out with Lawler, and it was an easy try. Any number of three players could have scored. Here's the wide shot. Short defence, only play half the ground. Jimmy Dimmock read that beautifully. There's Lawler, onside, easy catch, and beautiful football there from Parramatta.
As you see the ball come out to Dimmock now, if they'd got the ball out through the hands, it possibly would have taken too long. He saw the man coming up, put the ball to the air, and Lawler was in the perfect position to score.
Yes, I'm not a great believer in this compressed defence. What you've got to do is mark man on man, especially when you're playing against sides with ball players like Dimmock. They're going to carve you up all the time. They can just read the play so well. Gary Freeman also one of them sorts of players.
Well, he'll attempt to convert his own try, Chris Lawler. 10 points to 6, Parramatta leads. With just over 10 minutes to go in the first half.
And what a break it was from Spence too. His ability to be standing the tackle. 2 or 3 South Sydney players around him. That what caused the problem. They all went to the blind side to have a bit of a rest, and they had no numbers out wide.
Well, the way he proved that last weekend against Western Suburbs as well, Matt Spence, when he came on. So Lawler from out wide. So coming round too far. So it's still 10 points to 6 here at the stadium.
Jimmy Dimmock, as I said before, one of the great players in the game at the moment. He sums this up. Don't kid yourself, that's not easy. The ball is pinpoint accuracy and a great try. South Sydney have only got themselves to blame. Mistakes cost points, and there you have it. Dimmock, great play.
So Darrell Trindall will come up for the restart. His team down by 4 with just under 10 to go.
Yes, and plenty of work for both locks already. Jim Dimmock for Parramatta, 9 tackles and 9 hit-ups. Also Slattery for South Sydney, 12 tackles and 3 hit-ups. So that just tells you that they are going to the fringe of the ruck on a number of occasions. That's the way both these sides play, as McCRACKEN tries to get over the 20-metre line.
Well, he gets up to the 20.
And they help him over it.
And he goes on with the tackle, little Jacin Bell. There was no real need for that.
No.
And I'm not sure there was a 10 metres there.
Well, this is tragic, Eric. For first-grade footballers to be playing like this, have a look at the errors in this game. Shocking pass from dummy half from Aaron Raper.
But look at the South Sydney defence. There's no way that they were 10 metres away.
And Mario, schoolboy stuff.
Field comes blind. Picks up Tyran Smith. He's taken high by Freeman, low by Mahon. About 25 metres out. Field again goes blind. Adam McEwen will play it.
No fullback at home. Let's see if Craig Field can read this.
Scott Mahon now getting around. And this is Slattery. Taken head on. Bell to Trindall. Trindall steps. Can he get through the gap? No, he can't. Last tackle. What can Field do here? He goes right and kicks through. Taken by Dean Pay and comes out about 10 metres from the Parramatta line.
Well, that's the thing I was talking about, Eric. When you are going to kick, you've got to bring the players on. You've got to run to the line so you can kick in between. He kicked too far back from the line then, trying to put it in the in-goal area, straight into someone's hand. And to put the boot in, they give a penalty away only 10 metres out from their line. They had all sorts of pressure on Parramatta then. All they had to do was chip into the in-goal area and get the football back. But just trying to be too smart with the football.
Penalties 5-3 at the moment. At South Sydney, well, they've only won 1 of their last 13 home games, so perhaps that might be an omen.
And perhaps that's why the crowd doesn't turn up.
They come away now, Parramatta, centre of the field, around about 40 metres out from their own line as Raper looks to the right. Again, picks up Dean Pay. Pay makes about 5 metres. And they'll play the ball just inside the South's half. They go blind again. This is Marty McKenzie. Well, this time he's picked.
Well, look, I come here to watch and commentate a game of football, not listen to this bloke blow his whistle all day. That annoys me.
How do you see it, Mario?
I'll tell you what, mate, the South Sydney coach, Ken Shine, honestly, I wonder how his blood pressure's going, because this side, their heart attack stuff, South Sydney. And look, they're only beating themselves, South Sydney. It's mistakes that are helping Parramatta to. They're going to have a handy lead from here.
Freeman kicks for touch, and they'll get the restart around about 28 metres from the South Sydney line. This is McKenzie. Raper, Dimmock, looks for Johnson inside. Now they've got good field position, Parramatta. They can go left or right. Raper goes left. Freeman. It was a good ball there from David Woods. McCRACKEN can't get through. Well, again, they come up. This is Justin Morgan. Freeman. Pay. Dimmock on the run around. Taken by Tyran Smith. But did he get the ball down?
Oh, what about that for a pass? Jimmy Dimmock.
Russell WYER collects his second try of the match.
Is he a freakish ball player or what? Beautiful play there from Jimmy Dimmock. He didn't even look on the outside. He just knew his man was there. Beautiful play. There's WYER's second try. And as Mario said, South Sydney just digging themselves deeper and deeper. Watch Jimmy Dimmock. If this bloke isn't the best ball player in the game, I'm not here. Good understanding there from Dean Pay. Tyran Smith tries to make the tackle. Oh, that's freaky stuff. Good try there to WYER.
Absolute magical ball by Jim Dimmock. As we see the ball come out on this replay, the pass from Freeman. Dean Pay and Jim Dimmock combining, you'd expect them to. They played together at Canterbury, but that was just a great ball. WYER was expecting it, and he goes over, and that is a fair try.
And did well too, WYER. Got down low. He knew he didn't have much room into the corner post. Got down low and dived in underneath. And there's try number 2, formerly of St Greg's College, Campbelltown. Russell WYER went to Newcastle in '94. Now he's found his home here with the Parramatta Eels.
In fact, he finds a few people homes because he's a real estate agent.
Is he? I'll give him a ring.
Wide out, the kick again for Chris LAWLER. 3 tries to 1. Parramatta leads 14 points to 6. He'll curve this one round. And that's a great conversion from out wide by Chris LAWLER. 16-6 now, Parramatta lead.
Well, what more can you say about Jimmy Dimmock? I must say, this looked like it was a little bit lucky for mine, but good players make their own luck, don't they? And certainly Parramatta needed that try. It gives them a bit of breathing space now at 16-6. And South Sydney, as I said before, have no one to blame but themselves.
Less than 4 minutes in the half. Parramatta leading South Sydney by 10 points as Darrell Trindall brings the ball back up to the halfway. And I'm sure, Steve, that Ken Shine will have a few rather acute words to say at halftime.
Oh, don't worry about acute word. I mean, the horror story just continues for poor old Ken Shine. Got to get in there at halftime and try and rally the troops every week. But it's just as Mario said, their own mistakes that are costing that. They have had some good attacking opportunities here in the first half. A couple of their players have played well, but you can't keep giving anyone back the football.
Johnson taken strongly in the tackle. Raper. This is Dean Pay, about 40 metres out from his own line. Raper again. He brings in Justin Morgan. Freeman looks up, sees a space down there, and kicks long. Danny O'Keefe should collect it, and he does. But there's no one there in the play the ball at the moment. Around about 28 metres from the line now, South Sydney. What can they do here, Mario?
Well, they have to settle down and make sure they get it out of their end, but must be pleasing for Parramatta. Dean Pay's form. He appears to have overcome that niggling groin injury, and that's good news for Parramatta. Dean Pay in the side and fit.
That's right, he's having a great game too, the former Canterbury second rower. We've got an injury here. Taken in a very strong tackle. The referee wants the ball to be played anyway.
Yeah, a little bit of pinch from dummy half there. I don't see anything wrong with that. There was only Johnson over the top. He might have just got his neck caught under Johnson's shoulder. South Sydney kicking on the third tackle.
Back live. This is Scott Mahon bringing the ball out to run about 30 metres from his own line. Taken in the tackle of Tyran Smith. Jarrod McCRACKEN steps into dummy half. Freeman. This is WYER in from the wing.
Well, the thing is about South Sydney's defence, there's no intimidation about it. Mario, you'd have to agree, they don't sting every player running at will. You even got the wingers coming in and taking it up the middle of the ruck.
Well, here's a big run out down on the left wing. He kicks inside, does Chris LAWLER. The bounce is good. And no, that will be no try.
I can't believe that.
That is a try bombed, and Freeman is disgusted, and he should be.
How long did Barnes have? He had time to make himself a cup of tea while the ball was coming down.
They know that was an opportunity missed, Parramatta, and Freeman, as you can see on his face, as he shakes his head.
Have a look at this. I just think I'll put 2 sugars in this, a little bit of milk, and he bombs it. Give yourself an uppercut.
Well, the kick inside was great, and it was wonderful thought by Chris LAWLER. It was pin perfect. Well, there was no full-back home.
Where's South Sydney's cover defence? That's what I'm worried about. 1 kick ahead. They'll score out here on the wide now.
Well, it comes out left for Parramatta. Oh.
Well, the scramble defence, South Sydney's disgraceful. No one there. As I said, he could have made a cup of tea waiting for that one.
DYMOCK looks both ways, gets inside the South Sydney 20. He'll play it back to Raper, who goes blind. The kick ahead. Well, he's found touch, but really, there was another opportunity missed from Parramatta.
Mario, why would you kick on the third tackle up the blind side when you're making 50-metre breaks every time you get the football? Look at this. That's poor play again.
That's right, there was no real need, A, to go blind, and then B, to kick.
Well, A, to go blind, it was 2-on-2. There was no advantage on the blind side. The only thing I could save him with is he was looking at the clock and it was right on half-time.
And it is half-time now at the Sydney Football Stadium. 16 points to 6 so far as the teams make their way into the dressing rooms. And really, Steve...
Yep, we're lucky it's not 30 points to 6. Parramatta bombed a number of tries. It looked like South Sydney were going to come back into the game after Parramatta had scored their first try. But unfortunately, just too many errors. Half-time score, Parramatta 16, South 6.
And it really could have been 20 or even 22 points to 6 with that late try. So here it is at half-time, 16 points to 6. Parramatta over South Sydney. We'll take a short break and be back in a moment with Amanda to pledge and a sports update.
Here comes another blockbusting week, highlighted by the Anzac Day meeting of Rugby League's oldest rivals. Apart from Sydney City's struggle with Souths, there's also replays of the previous round and 3 discussion programs. This week sees the cream of Aussie swimming vying for tickets to the Atlanta Games and will be there every night. Plus, we've got both Mobile Netball League semi-finals and our replay of the AFL Match of the Round. It's all on Channel 12 Sports Australia this week.
In a career spanning over 50 years, he was one of the best-loved actors of all time. James Stewart, boy next door, who became Hollywood's Mr. Wonderful. Unique and unorthodox, this Oscar-winning actor stamped each role with his own particular style. Every performance found its roots in his personality.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Dazzling critics and public alike, he meant big business to Hollywood.
Certainly is good news to me.
However, even at the height of his success, he never forgot his fans. Adored and respected, he was a
live and red hot.
Oh, what a grab!
The crowd.
From kicker Ivan Cleary, keeping the margin down. The Roosters' strong defence again set up the victory, keeping them at the top of the... Luke Ricketson the scorer. And Fremantle just couldn't match them. Frenzy continuing, Collingwood taking full advantage. Rocker got his third. The Magpies flying high, 50 points ahead at the main break. A fresh start for Fremantle in the second half, the Dockers forward line dominating possession, claiming the first 3 goals.
And I think it's... what a great kick!
Buckley booting Collingwood's only goal of the quarter. Somehow, though, the Dockers just couldn't get a hand on it. Time slipping by, Waterhouse's flash of brilliance not ending that way. Determination not enough for the young Dockers. Nathan Buckley booting the sealer right on the siren. The Magpies victorious by 37 points. Auckland has retained top spot on the Super 12 rugby union table with victory in a high-scoring game against the Waikato Chiefs. Auckland dominated most of the match and led 39-17 midway through the second half, but the Chiefs stormed home to close the gap to 8 points with 7 minutes to go. The Blues picked up another bonus point for its 5-try haul. The last leg of the 2-year-old Triple Crown, the Champagne Stakes at Randwick this afternoon. The big shortener and favourite was My Duke, but the winner was a 20-to-1 shot.
My Duke on the outside taking a while to hit top gear, and they're clear of Clang, and Anthems is running on strongly at the 200 into Gay, still in front. He won't give up, he's fighting back, he's clear of My Duke, and getting home fast is Anthems, who's going to fly to the line. Into Gay's in front as they get near home, and Into Gay's wins the Champagne Stakes without the rings. Anthems got second, My Duke third, followed by
Intergaze, ridden by Glenn Boss, paid $18.60 for the win, $3.80 for the place. Anthems, $1.70 and My Duke, $1.30. Australian motorcycle ace Darrell Beattie will make his comeback from injury in tomorrow's Japan 500cc Grand Prix from 17th position on the grid. It was a poor day for Australians at the final qualifying session at Suzuka this afternoon. Reigning world champion Mick Doohan managed only 7th fastest. Spain's Alex Greville has pole ahead of a string of lesser lights who upstaged their more fancied rivals. And that's all for now. We return to Eric Young at the Sydney Football Stadium for the second half of the South Sydney Parramatta Rugby League match. I'm Amanda DePledge. Good night.
Thanks very much, Amanda. Amanda DePledge there with our sports update. It's half-time here at the Sydney Football Stadium. 16 points to 6. Parramatta over South Sydney. Tries to Danny O'Keefe for Souths. 2 to Russell WYER. Chris Lawler 2 kicks and Field 1 from 2. Well, 3 tries to 1 so far, but look at those tackles, Steve Roach. 103 South Sydney forced to make in that first half.
Well, they're their own worst enemy. They keep handing the ball back to Parramatta, and that's going to have to change in the second half if they are going to get into this game. 16 points to 6. I think they're lucky they're only that far behind.
And a high error rate for both teams. South Sydney committed 18 mistakes, Parramatta 14.
Well, exactly what I was talking about, Eric. When you play against a side that shots the football around like South Sydney do, you come down and you're going to get errors. Parramatta are playing the same, 18 to 14.
As we take a look at the halftime statistics for the players.
Yeah, well, Peter Johnson for Parramatta, as you could imagine, leading the way. Peter Johnson also involved in the hit-ups. Troy Slattery, the lock forward for South Sydney. A good game from him. 14 tackles and 6 hit-ups from the young lock forward. But Jimmy Dimmick for mine, the player of the first half.
Well, so it's 16 points to 6 at half-time. Really, South Sydney playing themselves out of this game. That must be breaking your heart, Mario Fennick.
Yeah, exactly right, mate. Look, Coach Ken Shine, as we said in our commentary, he wants his players to see if they can control the football. That's the only problem with South Sydney. They're just not controlling the football. Jacin Bell, their hooker, has left the field, and I don't think he'll return. He's got a hip injury. Coach Ron Hilditch, on the other hand, he was very pleased with the way his team came home. He's saying to be very careful of South Sydney. They're dangerous if you take them easy. And he wants to pay special attention to their halves, as we said, Field and Trindall.
Thank you, Mario Fennick. Sideline comments tonight here at the Sydney Football Stadium. Well, Steve Roach, it's interesting that Ron Hilditch was reasonably pleased with the way that Parramatta finished that half.
Well, he's not a very hard
He's easy
man
to please, isn't he?
Yeah. South Sydney, as we said in the first half, it's far too many errors. They've turned the ball over 6 times. So that's 36 extra tackles they've had to make, and it just takes too much petrol out of you when you've got to attack.
Just about ready for a restart here at the football stadium. 16 points to 6. Just having a bit of trouble getting all of the kids off the ground from the half-time game. Craig Salvatori, they need a big effort from him in the second half.
Well, they do, Eric. They need a little bit more involvement from Craig. We know that he has been an Australian player, winding down his years now. He had so many years at Eastern Suburbs. Now he's at South.
Well, Scott Mahon there in your picture before. It was his mistake which led to the South Sydney try. And Steve, Neil Almond's been you've been one of his biggest fans in the first half, obviously.
Well, I'm allowed to say it now. He can't get me for 10 grand. He's had an absolute shocker. I come to games to watch them and enjoy them, not to listen to blokes blow their whistles all day.
Chris Lawler with the kickoff. Well said, Steve Roach. It's Martin Masella to restart the second half. He's taken in a big tackle, pushed back about 5 metres. That's great defence from Parramatta. Danny O'Keefe from dummy half runs. He's put away by Johnson. And again, they're just running out of dummy half at the moment, South Sydney, as Field steps in. Masella again. He's obviously being given a rev up by Ken Shine. And again, he's taken in a good tackle, that time by Dean Pay. Salvatori, 32 metres out from his own line. Quinn, Field. Well, it didn't bounce kindly for Russell WYER, and he's got the ball now, and he's still going. Steps out of one. Eventually, he's taken. This is Mahon. He goes out to his wing again. Freeman. He brings Dimmock into the play. He gets a half break, no runners. He was looking round for support. This is Aaron Raper out of dummy half. The holding so far, Mario.
Mate, this next 10 minutes, Eric, is crucial to South Sydney's chances. I don't think they can win the game, but at least they can come up and be competitive. They have to make sure that they work the ball out of their end.
Dimmock goes high. This will test Danny O'Keefe. There's no one putting any pressure on him, though. And he collects it safely and gets about 15 metres out from his own line. Well, the running that time was pretty ordinary, Steve.
Yes, it was. It wasn't the sort of start that Parramatta after their half-time, their first set of 6 tackles. There's no real vigour in their running. Jimmy Dimmock left to kick the ball on the last tackle. It was a nothing kick, really, straight down the throat of O'Keefe.
Damian Browne is buried out wide. Adam McEwen gets to the 30.
What you got to try and do, Eric, is offset the defence. Run a few rucks, a few decoys. Mario, South Sydney don't seem like they've got any pattern of play to come out of trouble.
They seem like they're ad-libbing, don't they? And they rely on the brilliance of their halves. But in the modern day, Blocker, the modern game, you can't win games like that.
Well, that kick from Craig Field has gone straight down Scott Mahon's throat, and he's into the South Sydney half. This is Dimmock. Dimmock's taken high, but fairly, and he'll play the ball centre field about 40 metres out.
But even the Parramatta support play isn't there. They're all standing back waiting for the next ruck. Should always play the one that's been played.
Freeman. He was trying to pick someone up, and eventually he found Pay. He goes right now. This is Dimmock. He's got McCRACKEN outside him, and McCRACKEN puts it down. Well, Dimmock threw that reverse pass again, which worked for Russell WYER.
Yeah, and have a look how quick he summed up the situation. He knew that he had 2 men on his outside, South Sydney. He tried to play the 3-on-2, ran across field to go to the second last South Sydney player. That's good play there. Draws in Tyran Smith. Had he caught that football there, they would have been away. That's beautiful play again from Dimmock. I'll tell you what, Mario, he knows how to play 3-on-2.
Craig Field feeds the scrum. Brings Tyran Smith in. Centre field about 35 metres out.
Well, Eric, it just looks to me like there's no explosion. No players willing to tuck that ball under their arm and try and make a few yards.
Well, we had Martin Masella made the first 2 hit-ups of the second half for South Sydney, and he's been pretty anonymous since then. This is Field. Steps, runs. Who's he got? He looks inside, he's got support. Well, Darrell Trindall overran it. They're still going though, South Sydney. And eventually David Woods cleans up. But that's the problem for South Sydney. They'll make the initial break, but then they'll either run out of support or they'll put the football down.
Yeah, what happens is, Eric, they get too excited. Instead of waiting for the next play, you make the break and then you try and spread on that break, hoping that the defence hasn't got back in the line. And there's a penalty for ripping the ball out. There's a good strong charge there from Adam Ritson. Good reply. There's Salvo. What's he doing?
He's giving the referee a serve.
Oh, well, I think he's saying there all we're asking is for a fair go. And that's rightfully so, that penalty. Salvatori at fault there for South Sydney. That just takes the pressure right off.
I'm not quite sure what he's complaining about, Craig Salvatori.
Oh, he's probably just having a breather. A bit of a blow.
So, Nathan, I beg your pardon, Chris Lawler takes play up to around about 25 metres from the South Sydney line. They're about 20 out now as Adam Ritson comes in. He's taken high. They can go left or right. Raper in at dummy half. He finds Freeman. He steps inside. Well, eventually, Matt Spence ran out of runners. There was no support there for him. Raper, Dimmick. What can he do? This is Pay. Dimmick goes into dummy half. Will we see the ball go up here? This is Freeman. He looks inside, brings Adam Ritson in. He's strong, gets the ball back to Freeman. Last tackle. What can they do here, Parramatta? Freeman kicks through. Just too far.
Well, a little bit of unfortunate there for Gary Freeman. They had the pressure on South Sydney. Should have just chipped the ball in the in-goal area. The kick just a little bit too hard. Jimmy Dimmick involved again. The wide ball. Gary Freeman knew what he had to do. Just a bit of dew on the ground down there, Mario. Might have made that ball a little bit slippery.
I'll tell you what, Block, Parramatta are very fortunate that they've got Dimmick and Freeman to steer them around.
As Greg Clark makes a break, he slips over around about 38 or 42 metres away from the Parramatta line. He'll play the ball on the 10. It comes out now. This is Field. He steps, comes back inside. He picks up Quinn. Back now. This is Slattery, still going. There's no support though for South Sydney. He's given him 10.
Well, he's had enough. And I can't blame him too. He's made at least 10 penalties in this match just for holding down Craig Field.
Aaron Raper
is... It wasn't a little bit too long. He was over the top. He's rolled him on his back there. Aaron Raper hanging on and telling him to get off. He didn't get off. A little push to finish off. And that's a good ruling. Look at the 10 metres. It's disgraceful. He's marking it at the ruck.
This is Richard McKELL. Gets the ball 10 metres away from the Parramatta line. Field looks and steps. He goes wide. This is Danny O'Keefe. Danny O'Keefe still going. He's got no one in support. There's 4 Parramatta jerseys around him. Field. This is MASELLA. What can he do? Slattery puts it down. Oh, that's another opportunity butchered and Parramatta come away with it.
I'll tell you what it was, Eric. Bad lines run. You must run straight and underneath people. You run across field, you cramp your outside runners, and that causes errors. That's exactly what they did there. The gap was in the middle of the park as McCRACKEN tries to take the ball out for the Eels.
He's still going at Jarrod McCRACKEN, around about 25 metres out. Mahon comes into dummy half, picks up Johnston. Johnston's strong, puts the ball down.
Well, let's not forget it's been the hooker that's been sent to the sin bin for the 10 minutes. A little bit of indecision there from Parramatta.
That's right, you'd expect them to have a few problems around the play the ball with Aaron Raper in the sin bin for 10 minutes. 16 points to 6 here at the stadium. It's coming up to around about 9 minutes gone in the second half. This is MASELLA, steps through, strong. He's got Danny O'Keefe. O'Keefe going through, great tackle there by Scott Mahon.
Well, where's his step on the inside? They still might score. Greedy play there. That's a nothing play from dummy half.
Jacin Ryan.
Trindall screaming for the ball.
O'Keefe goes wide. Field. Well, they would have scored if they'd got the ball out, South Sydney. They may yet. In fact, they should. This is Tyran Smith. Tyran Smith will score.
And have a look who's around his legs there. Jimmy Dimmick. Desperation cover there. They should have scored a play earlier. A greedy guts run from dummy half there. Tyran Smith for mine has been South Sydney's best player. They just shifted the ball out wide. Craig Salvatori camped right out wide. in the backs.
Well, it was 3-on-1 out wide, and about the only thing going for Parramatta at that stage is that the one was Jim Dimmock. You can see the ball come out wide from Craig Field.
Could be a hint of a knock on there. No, he just edges the ball back. Good pick up there from the replacement player. And there's Tyran Smith.
It wasn't quite a run through to the line, because he still had Dimmock to beat, and Dimmock really put him off his stride. Tyran Smith, the Kiwi international, born in Kaitaia in New Zealand, and of course toured Papua New Guinea with the Kiwis in '94. And he's coming back very, very slowly. Generally plays it either in the second row or at lock. Out in the centres tonight for Ken Shine.
Yes, and done a good job too out wide, along with Jacin Sinclair. Could be the danger men for South Sydney.
Craig Field has the conversion from out wide. Is it good? Does it have the legs? No. So still 16 points to 10. Half an hour to go here at the stadium.
Parramatta guilty of playing South Sydney style football, making too many mistakes, and they've fallen down to the same level as South Sydney. And you'd like to think that South Sydney got more experience of playing this type of football. Look out, Parramatta, they have to try to shut down the shop and control the ball.
So just 6 points in it, and Parramatta a man down. Aaron Raper is the man in the sin bin. Just over 29 minutes to go here at the Sydney Football Stadium. This is Salvatori, strong.
Well, this is the exact time you need players like Salvatori, Field to get involved. He's starting to run a little bit more, Field. Dangerous, tricky Trindall. And there's MASELLA trying to take the ball out. They're the danger men for South. They've got to get the football there without making mistakes as much as they can. Here's Field from dummy half.
Steps. He picks up Richard McKELL. McKELL makes ground up towards the halfway line. If he plays it quickly, they've got a line up to the right. This is Field to Trindall. It's coming out wide. Trindall on the run around. The pass is poor. Well, he's under pressure there now from Nathan Barnes. So they lost ground there, South Sydney. Again, this is Jason Ryan.
Another waste of tackle for South Sydney. They've got to get the ball wide. Parramatta in all sorts of trouble.
Field goes to the air. Taken out by Dimmock. Field's on the ground. Field is injured as Scott Mahon comes away with the ball.
No, he's not. He's acting the snake.
I tell you what, he didn't get away with it either. It was worth a go, I suppose. The tackle was slightly late from Jim Dimmock, but not especially so, according to referee Neil Almond. This is Peter Johnson taking in a very strong tackle. Mahon into dummy half. Dean Pay.
He's played all right, Richard McKELL, the big front rower for South Sydney. Unfashionable prop. Made a number of tackles in this match. There's Dimmock involved again.
He's everywhere at the moment. The Parramatta lock forward. He's got the ball again. Puts it high. This goes straight to South Sydney wing, who pulls off a wonderful catch. It's sort of like just taken out on the boundary, but he didn't need to pass, and it's gone to Parramatta.
Well, I would have...
It was an awful mistake by Greg Clarke.
Mario, I would have the hook, and I would be pulling him off right now. That's a terrible play. They get the ball on kick reception. They're behind on the scoreboard, and he throws the football on the first tackle.
As we take another look at that.
What do you think of this one, Mario?
Honestly, Ken Shine, his blood pressure will be going through the roof. They're just heart attack material, this South Sydney side.
They're threatening at the moment, Parramatta. Freeman picks it up. This is Dimmock. Gets the ball out high. He's still going at the moment, David Woods. He'll play the ball about 20 out from the line. Freeman.
He's got to go to the sin bin, I'm telling you.
He's gone.
He's gone.
To be consistent.
Well, that's a square up. Field running in. He's telling him to get on his bike. What do Parramatta do here? They've got plenty of pressure on South. 26 minutes left on the clock. They've got to be kicking for touch and going for the try. Here's the replay. And fair enough too. He laid on him for an eternity.
Well, they're going to take the kick here, Parramatta. Chris Lawler has stepped up. He'll place the ball on the 20-metre line, just to the left of the uprights.
Right move, Mario, or would you have kept the pressure on?
I think it's the right move, Block. Freeman wanting to take the shot at goal, gives his troops a chance to suck it in, gather themselves, and hopefully consolidate for the next 10 or so minutes and stabilise this game, and hopefully a Parramatta victory.
And the other thing too, Mario, is that this will take them out to an 8-point cushion, meaning the Souths will have to score at least twice.
Exactly right, and as I said before, I think at this stage, being the captain, Freeman, he thinks that his boys need a bit of a breather, just get them to grab themselves together and just suck it in. Yeah, that's the right decision, shot for goal.
You can see too the Parramatta interchange bench just warming up down on the sideline. Darrell Trindall. There's Chris Lawler. He's a left footer, so it's the wrong side supposedly for him. But that's a very confident kick, 18 points to 10.
Every time you say something like that, they just bottom over. There's the crowd tonight, 6,420. Disappointing somewhat.
It says on the scoreboard here at the Sydney Football Stadium that the Rabbits are pleased to announce tonight's attendance of 6,420. You would have thought they would have been disappointed to announce a crowd like that.
I'd add a few thousand on if it was me.
Trindall will bring the ball up to the halfway line. His team is down by 8 points, and it's 12 aside at the moment.
And this is the problem too, Eric, is the urgency of South Sydney. It's taken them an age to get back to the halfway line. You think they'd be wanting to get on with the game.
They've got to get into it quickly, Mario.
They do, mate. We've just had a replacement. Eric, Dean Pay has come off and he's been replaced by the reserve grade captain, Justin Morgan.
This is Peter Johnson, strong, out beyond the Parramatta 30. Freeman. He brings in Morgan. He'll play the ball 40 metres out from his own line. Freeman again. Dimmock. He's strong in the tackle and loses the ball. So South will come away with it. No.
Yes, and it is a dead set penalty too. Tricky Trindall over the top of Jimmy Dimmock, raking the ball out. Here it is. You'll see it in a minute.
Well, he took his time with the decision, referee Neil Almond.
Yes, there's Tricky underneath there, ripping at the football. Fair enough penalty too. He might have got a call from the touch. He threw them touch judge mics.
Well, Jim Dimmock was obviously in no doubt, and it'll be Lawler to kick for touch. And he finds that quite comfortably, 35 metres out from the South Sydney line. So what can they put together here, Parramatta? Ritson brought into the play, goes strong. They take him high, still going. Picks up 10 metres. Freeman into dummy half. He's got Dimmock, one off the ruck. Steps inside, goes through. Freeman still going. Freeman will score in the corner. Well, that is a wonderful piece of work by the Parramatta captain. He looked inside and outside, couldn't find the support. South Sydney followed him, but the try line just opened up.
Well, that'll do me. Just over anticipating. Have a look at it. Craig Salvatori, it is its corded marker, takes Freeman's dummy. Too slow off the deck, that player there. Salvatori took the dummy. Freeman, the old wily fox. Still a bit too much pace. Danny O'Keefe came across a little bit too late, and it's a yeah.
Wasn't he happy with that?
Have a look at Craig Salvatori overreading. Terrible marker play from South. The little dummy on the outside.
Don't want to be critical, Steve, but holding the ball in the wrong arm there.
Yeah, he can hold it where he wants as long as he scores them.
Gary Freeman, the Parramatta captain, has got it limping his way back to halfway.
He's a lazy little fella. He wants an early mark. Hey?
Another former Tiger.
Another former great Tiger, that fella.
He doesn't mind a chat either.
Scored 10 tries last season in 22 games for Penrith. Most tries for the club, so he's hoping he can do that again this year with Parramatta.
Well, he's given Chris Lawler his kicker. Another difficult conversion attempt from wide out. 4 tries to 2 now Parramatta lead. 22 points to 10.
Well, it's interesting to bring Chris Lawler back into the side. They didn't have a goal kicker, Parramatta. He's played well today too in the open. He's made a number of breaks. He's kicked well for the side, as you said, a left footer. He can't be all that bad.
Well, this one he pushes across the face, so it stays at 22 points to 10. Around about 21 and a half minutes to go here at the stadium.
Well, whatever Parramatta have played Dimmock and Freeman, it just shows the value of Freeman here. The general of the Parramatta team. And Blocker said he went, yeah. I think he went, whew, because I tell you what, he's relieved. It basically wraps up the game for Parramatta and keeps the supporters away for another week.
Trindall kicks long. Freeman picks it up, finds Ritson on the burst. Strong. Still going, Ritson. Gets out to the 20. This is Peter Johnson. It's still 12 aside here at the stadium. In fact, Aaron Raper is now back on the park, so Parramatta's back up to 13.
Yeah, but you won't get Gary Freeman going in the dummy half and scoring tries now. Oh, that's a hit. That'll bring the crowds back. MASELLA on Johnson.
Big hit there from Martin MASELLA.
Oh, I can't wait to see this one.
Oh, that was a shocking ball. Didn't need to pass.
Well, here it comes. Look at this. Ushka. Eat that. Beautiful tackle.
And Johnson goes down like a sack of spuds. Well, it was a miracle ball thrown there by Justin Morgan. The pass didn't need to be thrown, and South Sydney have come up with it. Just waiting to put down this scrum on the Parramatta 40.
He's not real well neither. Look at Johnson there. He's on Jupiter at the moment.
Field. He's got some pace. This is Trindall. He's tackled well inside the 10-metre line. Plays it quickly. This is Field
back
again.
at home. Let's see if someone can read it. Mahon caught it, marker. He's racing to get back there now. Let's see if Field is worth his soul as a halfback.
This is Damian Browne. He's pushed back. That's great defence by Parramatta.
Shocking run from dummy half. Wasted a tackle.
Salvatori. Field again. The Parramatta defence is up. This is MASELLA. Can he free the ball? No, he can't. Taken by Morgan and Freeman.
What's Gary Freeman doing there? Hitching a ride.
Adam McEwen.
No. Trying to force the pass again, young McEwen.
They've been forced into errors, South Sydney. They're down by 12. They've got to do something. Raper goes into dummy half. Still going. Steps out of 2. Does Russell WYER. The ball inside. This is McCRACKEN. Will he go around Danny O'Keefe? No.
Tell you what, he took his time to work it out too.
Well, it's been a couple of late calls tonight by the referee. And the crowd's giving him heaps on the far side.
Russell WYER coming straight through the middle of your ruck. That is a forward pass too. Watch how long it takes him to blow it up. McCRACKEN nearly in Newcastle. And there's the penalty, or the scrum, sorry. South Sydney feed right on the halfway line. Oh!
Well, if he'd picked it up that time, it would have been good night.
It's the comedy of errors.
David Woods just denied an intercept try that time, but it's with South Sydney at the moment through Field. He brings in SLATTERY. Jason Ryan into dummy half. Field again. MASELLA. Quick hands from Trindall. Salvatori comes up to about 38 metres out from the Parramatta line. Trindall again. This is MASELLA. Steps. Taken in the tackle.
He's played well too tonight, MASELLA. He's got involved in everything he possibly can. There's the cross kick for Browne.
Well, again, he didn't really have to go high to take it, but he did, and safely. And another potential problem is diffused there by Russell WYER. This is Scott Mahon, stepping all over the place. Eventually he's taken by Tyran Smith. Raper into dummy half. This is Ritson. Still going. He's a hard man to put down, Steve.
He is very strong up top, the big man. You've got to try and take him low. He'll fall like a tall timber. Here's
They've got a line up now, Parramatta. This is Dimmock. Still going, Dimmock. Looks inside. This is Freeman. Freeman will score again, will he? Well, he thought he'd kept inside Gary Freeman. The touchy disagrees with him.
Beautiful tackle there from Craig Field, the only man from South Sydney who did chase. He's a competitive bloke, and there's a beautiful bit of play there. A little tap on the head. Little tap on the head there from Gary Freeman. Ritson again. Powerful. The play here, the money ball, is a quick play the ball. He attracts 3 and 4 defenders, spread straight away. Freeman out to Dimmock, the overhead pass. Freeman keeps alive on the inside. Tries to beat O'Keefe, he does that. And here's Field now, beautiful tackle from the young fellow. And no, I don't think he was out.
And you might be able to hear that from the crowd as well. They disagree with the touchy. Well, that was just foolish play there by Adam Wright. No need to play that ball. And now Parramatta come away with it. About 10 metres out. Raper into dummy half. He looks for Johnson on the inside, takes the ball himself. 8 metres out.
I bet you they wouldn't drop it if it was a pot of gold.
This is Ritson. Not given much space to work by his captain. Dimmock. Great ball from Dimmock. They'll come out wide and they'll score again, Parramatta. Nathan Barnes has the run in. But again, it was the beautiful quick hands of Jim Dimmock as he goes in to congratulate the try scorer.
Yeah, sleight of hand there from Dimmock. Good play there from Parramatta. They worked into the middle of the field. Hit back down that short side again. Barnes, too much pace. There's the ball from dummy half.
Came out from Justin Morgan.
Freeman again involved. The inside ball there, too big. Adam Ritson able to stand in the tackle. The long ball. Dimmock, look at that.
Just a great
ball. Sure, he could be a basketball star. And Barnes, beautiful play from him. Dives down low. Scores a try for Para. This is a hiding.
Nathan Barnes came from the Newcastle Knights, scored 12 tries for them last year in 21 games. And there's a few heads going down there, Blocker. They're blowing a bit.
Well, it's just the forced pass. They get possession and they throw it away on the first tackle. What was that sort of pass there before? From Adam Wright. I mean, geez, should cut his arms off.
Well, Chris Lawler is not enjoying this at the moment. He's got another kick from wide out. He's hit 3 from 5 so far. 26 points to 10. Again, he pushes it across the face. So it stays at 26 points to 10, 5 tries to 2.
Parramatta reaping the rewards. They've had so much possession over the last 5 or 10 minutes. It's just too difficult to hold up against. And Parramatta with too much possession. South Sydney are making too many mistakes, and they can't expect to win any game, South Sydney, if they keep playing like that. They're very valuable. Freeman and Dimmock to Parramatta, 2 of their star players.
Well, he's done this a few times tonight. Darrell Trindall. Restart. Yeah. Picks up Freeman.
And this man too, Adam Ritson's had a strong game for Parramatta. I wouldn't be surprised if his name is read out in the City side next week when they are selected.
Well, he commits a lot of people on defence, which is one of his keys, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. He's, a big man, strong. 2 and 3 players have to tackle him. There's the errors.
36 mistakes by South Sydney. Well, you can't afford to do that. We can't expect to do that and get away with it.
It's almost as big as the scoreboard.
Just working the ball out of their half at the moment, Parramatta.
And Mario, South Sydney don't end up on top in tackles. Parramatta still able to get up off their feet quickly, and the marker's just standing around.
Yeah, exactly right, Block. But look, I've got to feel sorry for South Sydney. They're trying their hearts out, but just they're not executing properly. They're losing the ball and making mistakes. And this is a game where you just have to control the ball. My heart goes out to them. They haven't given up. But
well, get that jacket off and get out there.
I'm sure they've still got your size, Mario.
Yeah, my heart goes out to the mate.
Mario Fennick on the sideline tonight as the ball comes wide. This is Salvatori, looks inside. Slattery up over the halfway line, finds Tyran Smith, and eventually and ultimately and predictably Parramatta come up with it.
Must be some soap on the ball.
Well, they've been handling it pretty well themselves.
There's a beautiful inside ball there from Craig Salvatori. Slattery's played well for South. Tyran Smith just looking on the outside to decide what he can do before he has actually got the football. South, a massive 12 turnovers in this match. It's far too many tackles that you have to make.
Well, Parramatta have got a penalty, and this is how it happened. The ball taken up.
What? What's that for?
You're
lifting in a tackle.
If you can figure that one out. They're 35 metres out, Parramatta. Dimmock with the ball. He's going to be the key for them as this half winds down, Mario.
Yeah, mate, he's a good player, but pretty happy with the form of Russell WYER. If you can recall, last week he was criticised for his lack of pace. He scored 2 tries tonight. He's been pretty promising.
Well, didn't quite time the pass that time, Aaron Raper, but it's cleaned up anyway. Last tackle now. What will they do? Dimmock will go to the air. We tried to push it short, and eventually Greg Clarke cleans up. He's injured though.
That was a shocking clash. That'll be a bad corky, that one.
That's right.
Nothing worse than them corkies, Mario.
He'll be limping on that for a while. You can see it here.
Oh, it's almost a trip. Hit the ground pretty hard too.
South Sydney come away now.
See if he does put his foot out. Well, instant send-off if you caught tripping.
Well, he's still on the ground in back play, but South Sydney come away now. This is Trindall. The replacement ready to come on, and it's Martin Masella. Field. He looks left. This is Danny O'Keefe. But they're not making big yards, South Sydney. This is the last tackle. It was a shocking pass, and Craig Field, you have to feel for him as he throws his head up.
Just continues, doesn't it?
Well, he's done everything he can, Craig Field. The pass from Craig Salvatori was not a good one. And Parramatta now pressuring. What can they do with just under 10 minutes to play? Strong burst there by Marty McKenzie.
Played all right too, McKenzie, since he's came on. Freeman orchestrating
ball
again.
To Dimmock. Dimmock through the gap. No. It closed very quickly. Running from dummy half there, Rod Mahon. Raper the kick through. That'll be too long.
Yeah, well, Raper heard the call a little bit too late on the outside there from his men. They had the numbers on the outside. There's that man there, Clarke, that got the corky.
Greg Clarke will be hobbling for a little while, I think. Doesn't matter whether he's still playing, he'll be hobbling.
It's a little bit too hard there from Aaron Raper. There's Ritson. Notice the way he turns him over on his back. It's a skill a lot of the players do these days when making the tackle, try to get the opposition on their back. Try and slow it down.
Going through the motions pretty much now, South Sydney. This is Damian Browne, gets the ball 40 metres away from his own line. Field. Masella. Taken in a strong tackle there by Dimmock. Nathan Barnes, he's pushed back 10 metres. Salvatori looks inside again. Well, there's no way through Jim Dimmock.
Is there anything he can't do? I think they got a loss on that set of 6.
Field goes high and long. It's well picked up there by Rod Mahon. Still going, strong run, looks inside. He's got support. They should score here, Parramatta. That's a beautiful step, and Russell WYER will score again.
Well, that'll do me for the Volvo. That's a magnificent try. Ronnie Mahon taking the ball, former South Sydney player now with the Parramatta club. That's his position. Fullback, a dangerous runner from that position. Sprints the ball back, WYER on his outside. Gary Freeman loomed up in support. He didn't need him. He threw the dummy. Here's Ronnie Mahon. Have a look at the speed off the mark. Eats up them yards early. The little right foot step, able to stand in the tackle. Good play there from WYER. Has some support on the outside by Gary Freeman. Doesn't need him. Tyran Smith overreads the play. And there's his hat-trick.
As you can see here, as Mahon brings the ball up, able to get the pass away, and WYER had 2 men on his outside. He had Freeman there, and he steps inside, as you say. Tyran Smith just wrong-footed all at sea, and WYER just a pretty straightforward run-in.
And good luck to him too. He looked like his career wasn't going many places when he went to Western Newcastle. Now he's scored 3 tries. A hat-trick for him. That's good play from him.
And a great hat-trick as well to Russell WYER. Well, at last, Chris Lawler's got one close into the posts and he converts. So 32 points to 10 now, Parramatta over South Sydney.
Well, I'll tell you what, boys, a week's a long time in rugby league. Last week, Russell WYER was criticised, as I said before, for lack of pace, and he scored three tries tonight. Certainly, that's the way to answer your critics.
Mario, you're a South man. 38 errors for South Sydney tonight. What would you be doing at training if you're in charge there?
Well, to put it bluntly, Blocker, they don't really have the talent on the field. You know what it's like, mate. You've played football. It's quality, mate. They don't have the quality players.
So once again...
So what, you'd go home early? Is that what you're trying to say?
I don't know what I do, Block.
Adam Ritson. He's still going, this big front rower for Parramatta. 25 metres out. Dimmock steps inside, still going Dimmock, steps again. Great ball. They're up to the halfway line. Freeman. Great ball again. This is David Woods. Freeman again. Ball goes down. They're back to one.
Got the numbers.
They should score here, Parramatta. Everyone's lining up for it at the moment.
Someone put them on the ground, please.
All they have to do is settle and they'll score. Freeman. Raper. Woods. Woods inside. Ritson. Back inside. Maven. Held up. They'll play the ball centimetres from the line.
Last tackle.
Kick through. Back to one. Nothing silly. This is Dimmock. Wide ball. Surely that was forward. It was.
Forward pass from Dimmock.
Well, they didn't really need to push the issue because they were given 6 more tackles.
I think Adam Ritson could have scored under the post there. He passed the ball. He wasn't greedy. Here's Dimmock again. Summing up, they should have went through the hands there. They had 4 on 2. Trying to get WYER number 4. Just forward that one.
Well, it was a let-off that Souths needed, and the Parramatta really could have done without.
Well,
because
as I said, I thought Richards could have scored the try under the post himself. He only had a midget to beat there at fullback.
And they had 6 more tackles, Parramatta. There was really no need.
Yeah, they panicked a little bit there, Eric.
Field to feed the scrum. 10 metres out from his own line. Sinclair pushed back by this strong Parramatta defence. Trindall from dummy half, not going anywhere. Well, this time he held on to it, Adam Wright. Field, the long ball, picked up eventually by Salvatori. This is McEwen. They're still inside their own 20-metre line. MASELLA. Well, he ran straight into Ritson. He was going nowhere. Last tackle, they're still only on their 20-metre line. Salvatori with the kick. And it ends up being a good one. But eventually, it's Rod Maven there to pick up. He's got the pace. Taken in the tackle of Paul Quinn. He comes out wide, still going. This is LAWLER. Comes back inside, tries to get away from the sideline. And he'll play it to Nathan Barnes, 35 metres out. Freeman. Dimmock. This is Marty McKenzie. Fitz Fawcett. And again, the mistake.
He's trying to outsmart themselves a little bit too much, Parramatta.
Oh, that's a
got the
great ball.
now.
Well, there was some great handling until the last pass. And again, you have to feel for South Sydney, Mario.
Hey, South Sydney, look, this sums all their whole night up. Look, believe it or not, South Sydney, if they would have made less mistakes, they were in this early on especially, but now the mistakes have really come up against them and very frustrating for their coach, Ken Shine.
Jacin Sinclair, who gets the award for the best haircut on the park tonight. The scrum will go down around about...
You did think about going out to the gap, Mario, wouldn't you?
Actually, Block, that'd probably suit you a haircut like that.
What about...
Head like a bowling ball.
What about all the scars I got on me from you treading on me?
Oh, yeah.
Parramatta coming away with the ball. This is WYER again. There was a hint that the pass might have been forward, but he's got away with it. Freeman again. There's a line-up out to the left. Woods. Still going. Can he score? Yes, he can. Well, in the end, it was poor defence from Danny O'Keefe. Woods just turned in the tackle.
He's a talent, Woods. Unfortunately, we haven't seen the best of him, always injured. But he certainly can play this game of football. What he did there was catch Rich and McKELL in the middle of the field, the big front rower. Never get caught out there, son. They're right on the sideline. You should run in there tight. Just have a look at the replay when he spreads the ball. Did they go through Freeman? Have a look at McKELL here in defence. Caught out. The big man caught out. No way, son. Don't get caught there. Spins out of the tackle. Poor attempted tackle there from the fullback, Danny O'Keefe. Trying to knock his head off. And here, just have a look at McKELL. Big front rower. Never get caught out there, mate. You'll get beat all day.
That's right. They'll just keep on running at you. Well, the thing about Parramatta is that they have so many options. If David Woods hadn't come inside, he had a line up to the left and they would have scored anyway. And once again, Chris Lawler gets the easiest of conversions. Right in front this time. He's kicked 4 from 7 tonight. 36 points to 10. Parramatta lead South Sydney. And that's the easiest 2 points he'll pick up tonight. 38-10 it is now. And that is full time here at the football stadium. As the ball comes through again, it comes out to Dean Woods. Just steps around, over in the tackle, and that was a wonderful try. 7 tries to 2, Parramatta over South Sydney, 38 points to 10. And really, Steve Roach, there's a lot of work to do for Ken Shine and his South Sydney Rabbitohs.
Well, what more can we say? I mean, we've said enough during the commentary about the mistakes that the South Sydney side have made. Look, the thing that they've got to do, in my opinion, not that that's worth much, is go back to basics and try and work on the basics. Just come to the set of 6 tackles, get a good kick away. Don't try and get too excited with the football. Don't try and push the pass. Don't all try and be like Arthur Beetson. Just control that football.
Well, it's a severely dejected South Sydney team that's coming off the park right now. They just weren't in it this evening.
Well, if you do get to this standard, Eric, you should be able to play the game. Just too excited with the ball. Maybe not enough discipline there at South Sydney.
Well, it must be said too that Parramatta butchered a couple of what you'd call certain tries. As we go sideline now, Mario Fennick has Parramatta captain Gary Freeman.
Yeah, I've got one of Parramatta's great players, Gary Freeman. And Gary, you've come away with a great win, but it was tough early.
Well, South's always going to be tough very early in the piece, but we managed to hold the ball for sets of 6, which put them under pressure and allowed us to get away with a win at the end.
You and Jimmy Dimmick seem to be working well together.
Yeah, we're going pretty well. A few times we probably get upset with each other, but that's in the case of the heat of the moment. We're trying to get the ball and trying to score tries and trying to put the blokes through holes, but other than that, I think Jimmy and I are working very well.
Must be a relief for the players with all the pressure over last week's loss to Western Suburbs.
Well, a little bit disappointing against West last week, but a few players were sick going into the game, and I think we rectified things here today, and we'll keep the fans for another week, and hopefully we'll tune up against when we play the Gold Coast.
Well, those 35-year-old legs are running pretty well, mate, aren't they?
Mate, they're only 34. I was saying to the sprint coach, we don't need to do 80s, but you know, I was a little bit late.
Mate, your form's been great, Gary. Congratulations and well done, mate. Bye-bye. See ya. I've got Craig Field here. Craig Field, mate, it hurts me to see a former South player myself, 10 years at the club. The mistakes just kill you, Craig, don't they?
Yeah, it does, mate. Like you said, Mario, you've been here for a long time, and you know, it's just hard to see that the way the players are playing. You know, I mean, I don't want to bag the players, but you know, this club's a very traditional club, and there's no pride out there actually for South Sydney at the moment from the players that are playing there. So that's pretty just 5 games, you know. It's been pretty hard. It's pretty hard.
Craig, actually, I thought about halfway through the first half, Parramatta started to make some mistakes and let you into the game.
Yeah, we had our chances, mate. You know, Wiz has said he's very happy with his team. You know, I think they've got a bit of work to do if they want to win the premiership. My opinion, I think, you know, we had our chances. We just dropped the ball and we weren't willing to take their chances when they give it to us.
Craig, if the rumours are right about Craig Field, he might be heading towards Parramatta.
Mate, they're only rumours, and I'm under contract with South. I have got a clause in my contract that if Alan James leaves, I'm a free agent, so I'll just see what happens and weigh everything up and do the best for Craig Field.
Well, I hope for South Sydney's sake, mate, you stay there, and I wish you all the best.
Thanks very much, Mario. Thank you.
Back to you, boys.
Thanks very much, Mario. So there it is. There's the damage. 7 tries to 2, Parramatta over South Sydney. We'll take a short break and be back in a moment with a wrap-up. This 38-10 win.
Sunday, live on Sports Australia, the kickoff of the AAMI Cup. Join Russell Fairfax as we bring you the best game of the round from one of the world's top rugby union competitions. This week, bitter rivals Gordon and Randwick clash at the Sydney Football Stadium. Live rugby union at the AAMI Cup Match of the Week. Sunday afternoon at 2:30 only on Sports Australia.
Cats been playing the blues longer than me, all sure. I'd like to see that.
Clubs full of guys with great bodies? Yeah, I'd like to see that.
I hear you guys worship Aussie rules. Hey! What sort of religion is that?
A game that's lasted longer than me. I'd like to see that.
Unbelievable. Here comes another blockbusting week, highlighted by the Anzac Day meeting of rugby league's oldest rivals. Apart from Sydney City's struggle with Souths, there's also replays of the previous round and 3 discussion programs. This week sees the cream of Aussie swimming vying for tickets to the Atlanta Games and will be there every night. Plus, we've got both Global Netball League semi-finals and our replay of the AFL Match of the Round. It's all on Channel 12, Sports Australia this week.
Welcome back here to the Sydney Football Stadium. A big win for Parramatta. And really, South Sydney was never in the game, were they, Steve?
No, they weren't. A little bit there in the first half, second part of the first half. They started to get back into the game, but 44 errors to South Sydney. That just tells the story. They've got to go back to fundamentals, try and get to their kick, as we said in the commentary. All sorts of problems out there at South Sydney now. I feel a bit sorry for Craig Field. We talked to him after the match. He's trying his heart out. He covered everything. He tried to run himself, but unfortunately to no avail. He was on his own.
Well, again, it must be said that Parramatta butchered a couple of tries themselves. It could have been a lot worse.
Well, the scoreline, yes, could have been a lot more than it was, but you know, Jimmy Dimmock, what about the game from him? Unbelievable. It seems to me now that Gary Freeman and Jimmy Dimmock are starting to get a little bit of an understanding together. Both players love to get the football in their hands, and that's all do well for the Parramatta side. Also coming back today, Dean Pay, I thought he played well while he was on there, coming back from a groin injury. And all looks well for Parramatta.
Well, 7 tries Parramatta scored tonight, so let's take a look at the first of those. Comes out to Freeman. The long ball, this is Woods. McCRACKEN on the break.
Yes, it was in trouble. Craig Field was in trouble with a shoulder injury early in the week and just didn't get over that. He missed the tackle on McCRACKEN. Good, strong burst from him. Tried to get the ball around the corner. And that man there gets 3 tries in this match. Russell WYER.
That's right, he had a great game, didn't he?
He'd be happy he's at Parramatta, wouldn't he?
After what was possibly a disappointing game for him last weekend against here at the stadium.
Yeah, he didn't play too well last week, but as Mario said in the commentary, a week's a long time in football, and he turned it around. That's a good thing about the game. You can have an ordinary game one week and turn it around the next week. There is 26 weeks in the competition, so you got plenty of time to catch up.
Well, let's take a look at the second try scored. This was to South Sydney. It came out to the left, and from there it was just pretty much a simple run-in.
Yeah, well, that just wasn't very good adjusting there from the Parramatta side. It was probably the only time that they erred in the game, and a good try to young O'Keefe out there. Look, South Sydney have got some good young players. They're just lacking a little bit of experience at the moment, and if they can get their experience in the lower grades and then come up into first grade, instead of having to throw the young players straight into first grade, they're going to be a lot better off.
Because it's unsettled times at the club as well, isn't it? I mean, the whole talk of the future of the club and whether the South Sydney Juniors is going to be taken over, that can't really be the best preparation you can have going into a game.
That can't really help the club overall. I mean, you'd be worried about where you're going to play, where your future lies. Look, there's a lot of young players that just want to play football, and they've been given the opportunity at South Sydney, but their future's a little bit uncertain.
Well, it wasn't quite so uncertain this evening for Parramatta because they scored 7 tries. We'll take a look at their third try of the match.
Well, this is the one that I was critical on. The shortened defence by South Sydney. Jimmy Dimmock just reads it without even looking. And on the outside, LAWLER, a good chase from him, leaves leaves the ground to catch the football, and an easy try to the Parramatta side.
Well, it was just wonderful vision there from Jim Dimmock, and he proved it all night, obviously. I mean, he had just such wonderful hands, great passing, good kicking.
Well, Larry, that's the thing, when you're watching on the television, you don't really know what's going through the player's mind. When you see Jimmy Dimmock sum up situations that quickly, you realise what a good player he really is.
Well, he had a hand in most of the Parramatta tries this evening. This one comes out through Freeman, the ball back inside. This is Dimmock, and look at this pass. Bang. WYER, he couldn't quite believe his luck, goes over in the corner.
Yes, well, Dean Pay involved in that try with Jimmy Dimmock, also played together at Canterbury last year, so they've got a good understanding together. But that pass, you'll go a long way to see a better one than that. That's in the Arthur Beetson mould, that one.
Well, in fact, we almost only had to wait until the second half when he put on the same sort of pass, but Nathan Barnes overran it.
Yeah, a couple of times there, as we said, they could have scored more tries, the Parramatta side. But in the end, Nathan Barnes got a try anyway, so he won't be too unhappy with that.
In fact, they were almost all lining up for tries this evening. This one went to South Sydney. This one to Tyran Smith out wide. And again, it was Craig Field with the long ball. This is Salvatori. He leaves it behind, but eventually it's cleaned up, and Tyran Smith basically had a run in.
Yeah, it was just the fact of the Parramatta defence not coming across, and there's that man Dimmock again. It just shows you the desperation of Jimmy Dimmock to get across there. I know that we are giving him heaps of raps, but what a magnificent player he is. I'd go as far as to say that he is the best player in the game at the moment.
Well, it was 3-on-1 out wide in that try. We'll just go back now to the next Parramatta try. Now, this is, again, wonderful vision from Gary Freeman.
Yeah, this is just a little bit of overreading. Dimmock there, first receiver. Salvatori thinks he's going to get the football. Sprints out to him. Gary Freeman, the wily old fox, the dummy on the outside. There was no one even there that he dummied to, and scores the try, and he loved that one. He loved scoring them.
Yeah, he didn't mind that one at all, did he? The little Parramatta halfback and captain. He put in a great performance tonight, and it seems now that he and Jim Dimmock, and with Dean Pay now back in the game, or back in the side, they're just really starting to get those combinations which are so important going.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a stop-start season for Parramatta so far. Look, they lost Smith, who's one of their best ball-playing forwards today, but then Dean Pay comes into the side. Let's wait and see if they get all their team on the football field, and we'll see how they go then.
Well, let's take a look at the next try scored this evening. As the ball came back through Raper, he dummied left, went right. Comes back now.
Yeah, the quick play of the ball, the inside pass there to big Adam Ritson. Too strong, able to stand in the tackle on the outside again. Beautiful hands from Dimmock again. Mahon in there, and there's the try to the young centre three-quarter Barnes.
Well, again, we just saw those wonderful fast hands of Jim Dimmock, and he can tackle too.
It's a Jim Dimmock-a-thon, isn't it? I mean, we just keep wrapping him, but just his involvement in the game was outstanding tonight, and he's a tremendous player.
What does South Sydney need to do? I mean, obviously they've got to go back to pretty much to square one. What will Ken Shine be saying to them right now?
Well, now, as Mario said, it's a bit of a personnel problem. I mean, they haven't had the greatest of the last 3 seasons, so you can't really attract players to your club. And in saying that, they have to put all these young people into their first grade side who aren't ready. There's Russell WYER going in for number 3 after a good break there from Rod Mabon at the back, and he can run the football back. That young fellow, he's able to stand in a tackle. And there's Russell WYER's third try.
I think one of the important things tonight for Parramatta was that the replacements they did bring on, both in the interchange and, of course, with someone like Dean Pay. Wonderful form, wonderful commitment, and they were all contributors.
Well, that's a big thing too. I mean, look, the hardest games to play are the ones that you're expected to win, and Parramatta would have been expected to win this one and win it quite comfortably. They came out and put the form on the board, and they just ran away with this game.
One of another games coming up this weekend. Tomorrow, of course, we've got St George up against Canberra. That'll be an interesting game. St George running hot at the moment.
The giant killers, St George, and good to see too that they got Jacin Stevens and also Browne back. They'll be on the bench for reserve grade tomorrow. But listen, it won't be long before David Waite uses them. They're quality players.
We'll get back to that game in a moment because there was one more try scored this evening. Here it was. Came out again through Raper and dummy half. The Freeman, and it came out to Woods. And he just stepped around.
Yeah, Richard McKELL it was. The front rower caught out wide, as we said in the call. A poor attempted tackle there over the top from O'Keefe. Should have tried and close up the football there. He just spun out of the tackle. He's a class player too, Woods. Hope we can see him with an injury-free season.
7 tries to 2, 38 points to 10. Parramatta over South Sydney. We'll be back in a moment after this short break. Don't go away.
Sunday on Sports AFL. At 11:15, the St Kilda Fitzroy Showdown. 1:30, the Bulldogs battle the Hawks. 3:45, Carlton take on the Melbourne Demons. In our Sunday double, we bring you all the action from the West Coast Eagles clash with Geelong at 6. Then right after at 8:15, Richmond confront the buoyant Sydney Swans.
See the Tigers roar on Sports AFL.
It doesn't get any better than this.
Midday Movie Magic, Sundays on Movie Greats.
People wonder why I answer when Africa calls.
There's madness, mayhem and moon capsules in Call Me Bwana.
Oh, how wonderful it is to be out on safari.
With Bob Hope and Anita Ekberg.
I feel the call of the wild myself.
Then Richard Harris is a trapper left to die in Man in the Wilderness.
Zach's dead, Fogarty. What are you afraid of?
What they didn't count on was his iron will.
I've got a son out there. I'm going to find him.
Then music, magic and spellbinding romance with Doris Day in Tea for Two. She's got a head filled with dreams.
I want to put the money into Larry's show, Uncle Max.
And her uncle can't manage her money.
$25,000.
Then, from the creator of Star Wars, George Lucas,
You are engaged in an unauthorized procedure.
comes a sensational sci-fi thriller, THX 1138.
It's a strange life.
With legends of the screen Robert Duvall and Donald Pleasance.
What's wrong with you?
Midday Movie Magic, Sundays on Movie Greats.
The Hitman, Thomas Hearns. Smokin' Joe Frazier. Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Ken Norton. The Hands of Stone, Roberto Duran. Leon Spinks. Sugar Ray Leonard. And the greatest of them all, Muhammad Ali. They came, they saw, they conquered.
Welcome back to the Sydney Football Stadium. Parramatta big winners over South Sydney this evening, 38 points to 10, 7 tries to 2. Let's just take a look at some of the statistics of this match. Well, Danny O'Keefe and Tyran Smith scored for South Sydney, but Russell WYER, a fantastic hat-trick. And other tries to Chris Lawler, Gary Freeman, Nathan Barnes and David Woods. And of course, Chris Lawler added 5 conversions. Craig Field got 1. Here's where it hurt South Sydney.
Yes, there's the error rate there. Massive 44 for South Sydney. I don't think Parramatta coach Ronnie Hilditch would be that happy with his side. 21 errors. But look at the tackle count too. You just use up too much petrol, too many tackles. 189 tackles for South Sydney, only 151 for the Parramatta side. And the penalties, that was pretty even. The goals, 5 to South Sydney's 1.
Well, there you go. And the player performance at the moment. Look at those hit-ups.
Yeah, good game there from Adam Ritson, knowing that the sitter selectors would have been out here tonight. A massive 19 tackles from him. And also 18 hit-ups. That's a great game from him. Jimmy Dimmick, we've already mentioned him. And Peter Johnson, 15 hit-ups for him. For South Sydney, Troy Slattery, 18 tackles. And 8 hit-ups for that young fellow. That's a good work rate for a lock forward. Martin MASELLA also well involved in the hit-ups.
Well, as we mentioned, the big game for Sports Australia followers tomorrow is Canberra up against St George. Now, of course, St George, they're coming off some very good games. Anthony Mundine, isn't he playing the game of his life? But here we've got Canberra, their big win last weekend over the Cowboys.
Yes, it just keeps happening for Anthony Mundine. He's outplayed Chris Johns and then Terry Lamb, and this week he's got Laurie Daly. So I don't envy the young fellow, but to me, the best young prospect in the game, Anthony Mundine. Here we see the Canberra side carving up the Cowboys last week. There's Mullins in full flight.
Look at the pace of the man.
No better sight than that. The big thing that came out of it for Canberra last week was the return of their lock forward and champion, Bradley Clyde. He got a meat pie last week. There's Woodford. He's not a bad young player neither. But here's the St George side. There's Quinn.
Great try to Chris Quinn, this one.
Yeah, he's played all right over the last couple of weeks. The only problem that he does have is with the high ball. But Troy Stone and Luke Filch, the young forwards from St George, having a mighty season. They're playing very well. Wayne Bartram, he's the man to watch tomorrow for the St George side. He's got tremendous pace. There's Mark Coyne, a good try to him.
I was speaking to David Waite earlier in the week, the St George coach, and he said that one of the reasons for the St George revival in the first few weeks of this season has been Mark Coyne. his captain.
Yeah, Mark Coyne, tremendous captain's knock. He's got unbelievable ability to set things alight, and he's got a great right foot step, as we saw there when he scored that try. Wayne Bartram not playing in the dummy half position but playing hooker, and he's used more as a running forward. He's been outstanding for the Saints also.
Well, that game live and exclusive to Sports Australia tomorrow at 4:30. And let's just take a look at what else is on Sports Australia this week in rugby league. Of course, we've got the league roundup on Monday with Terry Kennedy at 8:30 in Sydney.